right? So, yeah, I had a violent father. That was, something that was presented to me to deal with, and that created hurdles that I needed to overcome. But Michael, you had a passive father, and I'm pretty certain you've had a lot of fucking hurdles that you've needed to
Oh yeah.
overcome,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Including all your physical
Yeah.
stuff. So, I mean, you don't have to look for it, and, yeah, I did worry about private school being a little soft and not preparing my kids. So yeah, as a father, I want to make sure that I'm preparing my kids as best as I can. But I can't protect my kids from everything, and they have their own they have their own demons, you could say, and wherever I end up putting them. Like one kid had he had a learning disability, so I had to keep him in private school.
Right.
But it's amazing. He's become the strongest of all my kids.
Right.
So, as much as we want to control things, I don't know for sure if we are completely in control. Actually, I know we're not.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
there's that old saying that, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
So we're not in control, and I don't think that you have to worry about that kind of stuff. You're going to be presented challenges; they're unavoidable, and dealing with those challenges is going to make you who you are.
And inside your yoga practice, though, and inside your health practice, you challenge yourself, right? So how does that? How do you relate to that? Like, what is that? How does that fit into what you're saying?
Because there's things that I want to cultivate, right? Just like if you want to be a doctor, you got to go through medical school, or you want to be a lumberjack, you gotta go chop that pile of wood or whatever. I mean, there's things that I wanted to accomplish, and along the way of accomplishing them, you're presented challenges. If I want to feel better in my body, I have to stretch. And, it's not always comfortable to stretch. If I need to strengthen, as we were talking about earlier off camera with back problems, if I want to strengthen my back problems, you're not going to strengthen something that's not challenged, right? Like we talked about coming out of the womb and dealing with the challenge of gravity is what makes the muscle strong. So, the challenge is going to be there for whatever you want to create or facilitate. And you got to deal with that challenge. But I do want to emphasize something, because some people think the challenge is pushing harder. How do you know, like on a societal level, when we started this conversation with the young men and what they have to deal with these days? How do you know the challenge isn't to be more gentle?
Yeah.
How do you know the challenge isn't to get out of your ego and back off a little
Right.
bit? How do you know the challenge isn't to be loving and accepting of yourself as you are?
Right.
Right? People think a challenge is like push, push, push.
Yeah.
How do you know challenge isn't going the other way? In a society as aggressive as we are in, pushing is not that hard. What would be hard is not pushing.
Right.
What would be hard is for a man to be more gentle.
Yeah.
Right? What would be hard is to be less reactive and more accepting. So when you say challenge yourself, there's an entire side of challenge that most people are not addressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And that's the challenge that needs to be embraced in order for us to find violence, because aggression is our, did I say violence? In order for us to find peace, because aggression and violence are already on, overkill.
Right.
So in order for us to find violence, we actually have to go the other way. And that's going to be challenging, because it's challenging to go against our societal program and to go against the societal paradigm.
Yeah. So that brings me to another really great, like, how can we, and how do you recommend, your students to develop that kind of inner courage to to stand up against the violence, the aggression, the norms that we both agree are not healthy norms in our society. Like how would you coach someone to try to develop that courage because you got to stand against the grain and be really courageous. Like that's, to me, would be really manly. But I don't think men are getting that message. Or, I mean, I don't want to just make it about men, but it takes courage, whoever you are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, exactly. This is not just about men because women have their own issues, and one of the big ones is vanity, and because of the trip that our society lays on ladies.
Yeah.
So women can do this exact same thing that men do, pertaining to their issues. It's just different issues, but issues are issues, and the way you deal with them is the same. At least in the yoga world. And I did mention in the book how like my first kind of dealing with my ego in yoga, is in Hawaii, and because in Hawaii, you get there's a lot of reverse racism,
Yeah.
right? So, you walk by a pack of Hawaiian men and, they're giving you what we call stink
Yeah.
eye, like
I
they're
got it.
looking
I
for a
remember it.
and I actually remember, like, the urge to look back, and give them stink eye back and all that. And because that was macho, and that was me getting back at them. They're like attacking me with their eyes, and so I'm attacking back. This is before you come to blows, you're doing it with your eyes, right? And then
Right.
it leads to something more
Right.
serious. And when I recognized that, going down the path of that mentality was, not going to accomplish what I wanted within me and within the world, which is peace and love,
Yeah.
right? And harmony and getting along with people. Then, with that, then I had to make a decision. Do I engage in that or not? And it wasn't easy because my ego wanted to engage in
Right.
it.